Hi folks, it's Mark Merrill with Firm. On this special Fact Files, we're talking about Title IX and the Maine Human Rights Act. The Protect Girls Sports in Maine petition has been circulating for several months, you may already know, but to change the discriminating revision of the Maine Human Rights Act by Governor Janet Mills, which includes the words, including gender identity along with sexual orientation. Wrong! Title IX, federal law, passed in 1972, was to establish women and girls only, biological girls and women, in sports to allow varsity and collegiate competitions. And here's a quick review, folks, from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office of Civil Rights Division from February of 2025. This is what we're doing right here, folks, so you can see exactly what I'm reading from. And we'll make sure that you get a link for it. This was addressed February 25th of 2025 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights to Office of Governor Janet T. Mills, Office of the Attorney General. Notice of determination, OCR transaction number, to the State of Maine, Dear Counsel, pursuant to the authority delegated by the Secretary of the United States Department of Health and Human Services to the Office of Civil Rights, I write to inform you that OCR issues a notice of violation against the Maine Department of Education. The action is taken under HHS implementing regulations for Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972. Title IX, 20 U.S.C., subsection 16845 CFR, Part 86, which prohibit discrimination on the basis of sex in any educational program or activity that receives federal financial assistance. No person shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participating in, be denied the benefits of, be treated differently from another person, or otherwise be discriminated against in any interscholastic, intercollegiate, as stated, club or intramural athletics offered by a recipient, and no recipient shall provide any such athletics separately on such basis. Title IX, when it is viewed in its entirety, is an abundantly clear in its description that discrimination on the basis of sex means discrimination on the basis of being male or female. What happened? The findings, just the first one of the facts, folks. Maine Principals Association is the governing body for youth sports in the state of Maine and, quote, they say, is open to elementary, middle, junior high, and high school principals, athletic principals, assistant principals, technical education center directors, assistant directors, and other administrators who function primarily as building principals or assistant principals. In 2024, here it comes, here's the bombshell, and our state is making us a socialist and communist nation against the federal law. The Maine Principals Association approved a policy, quote, allowing transgender athletes to compete on teams either according to their birth-assigned gender or gender identity. Oh, looks like there's a little loophole there, guys and gals, says Mike Burnham, of the executive director of the MPA. Wrong, Burnham. You suck, and you're wrong. Okay? You're wrong. Why are you wrong? You know, ladies and gentlemen, and all other biological boys and girls, it's the federal law, plain, direct, and easy enough to understand. It seems like it to me. Apparently not to the Democrat Party in Maine or in U.S. Congress. Now, there's an update we just got recently, folks, from Voice of Maine and George Hale Rick Tyler show, who was interviewing Heidi Sampson, representative of ProtectGirlsSportsInMaine.com, and the referendum signature campaign that's been circling around for quite some time to gather signatures on next year's ballot to change the Maine Human Rights Commission and MHRC Act revision of including gender identity and sexual orientation. Here's how some of that conversation went with Rick Tyler and George Hale. Heidi Sampson, representative of the Protect Girls Sports in Maine.
I did. And the first thought is, they're so full of baloney because it clearly states, they cannot read, clearly the bill states that all kids can play sports. All kids can play sports. Boys, girls, and co-ed. It's super simple. And it's common sense, it's logical, it's rational thinking. And Susan Collins is a very common sense individual, and we're thankful that she signed it. She's standing on the right side of history, and with, 80% of Mainers who are with us on this.
Rick went through some of the headlines, which, to be honest with you, news media have the right to do whatever they do. Did you find that the headlines were deceptive or were just confusing?
They're designed to be deceptive, and they're designed to change the narrative from what it actually is. It's like a bait and switch. They're being dishonest, and they're trying to trigger people and incite, emotions and not thinking. So this is so straightforward. I can't even believe we're having this conversation. That's simple.
That is a text that you sent to me, and I wondered the same thought after you were on with us first, Heidi, and you explained to us precisely what the Protect Girls Sports in Maine referendum is about. Now, a listener had a question about those who sign or are signing the petition. The wording on the petition or the explanation that someone offers when they present the opportunity to sign the petition. There's signage. I saw it in the polling place where I live. Could you answer that question for the listener? What precisely is the Protect Girls Sports in Maine petition seeking to do?
It's simple. Allow girls to play in girls sports, boys to play in boys sports, co-ed sports for anyone that wants to participate in sports and that don't want to fit into the category of biological girls, biological males. They can have co-ed sports. Co-ed sports have been going on forever and ever. It's not a new phenomenon. And anyone, by the way, anyone that signs the petition and they have a question about it, the bill is right there with a petitioner. It's attached to the signature pages.
Thank you, Ms. Sampson. As we move on this, folks, as you can plainly see in front of you here, we have Susan Collins, who did sign to support Protect Maine Girls Sports, biologically speaking. Now, the Maine Human Rights Act, of course, is going to be opposite of that. So we're going to do that right here and now, ladies and gentlemen. Here at Firm, we always cover both sides of the issue. But as you can plainly see, Title IX overrules what I'm about to read you from the Maine Human Rights Title V. It's state. Title IX is federal. They keep wanting to argue they're not going to obey it because Donald Trump is president. Baloney. It's got nothing to do with it. The Maine Human Rights regulations say Maine Human Rights Commission regulates various aspects of human rights in the state, including employment, housing, public accommodations. The regulations are designed to ensure, and here it comes, equal access and protection from discrimination based on various factors such as age, race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, ancestry, religion, or national origin. The Commission's rules are maintained on the Secretary of State website and are subject to change as new statutes are enacted. It's Title V, Chapter 337. Title IX, as we just showed you, folks, is what? Federal law. How come we just can't seem to get this through the deflectocrats and Janet Mills' thick head? Also, sex is binary. You know why? Because it is proven by science. DNA. That's it. That's all there is to that one, folks. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we want to point out another organization to you while we have this moment in regard to freedoms and rights in our country. Take a look at this one and make sure you jot it down. And of course, we'll put it on our website and on our website, on our emails, and as well on all of our podcasts that we do, including this one. Please be very aware, ladies and gentlemen, of indivisible.org and indivisiblemidmaine.org. They're protesting around the state of Maine, and they have been for several months, possibly a year by now, since it's December. Check their website and educate yourself on the information they provide and how this group is trying to keep our nation divided towards hate and violence of our federal government, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, a Declaration of Independence going way back to the beginnings of our country, our foundations. And they support socialism. They're not even willing to talk to us, folks. One of the leaders there at one of the central Maine, Waterville area protest locations that they choose at their beck and whim from whoever is funding them. We are taking liberty but caution as to who they're being funded by. But they say we don't talk to people like you, meaning me. Fairness in Reporting Media. My car that says "We the People." The Bill of Rights on the hood of my car. Email address. Phone numbers. Links to YouTube and Twitter to at least see what we're talking about. No, they don't care about free speech. They only care about their speech that they're paid for. Indivisible. midmaine.org or just go to the direct site indivisible.org. We'll provide it as well, folks. As always, we thank you for joining us on this brief but very important podcast and program that we call Title IX versus Maine Human Rights Act. Stay with us all the time, folks, right here for truth, facts, reality, and common sense on a regular basis. fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, fairnessinreportingmedia@gmail.com, and podcasts on YouTube and Twitter 24 hours a day. In the meantime, folks, stay safe during the holiday season. Peace to all.